Canberra Metalheads.
The Archives.
Me and You is Season 2. Alright, let's kick it.
Welcome to the interview section of Canberra Metalheads. You got Marky Malphas
and JDecay.
We're joined here with a portable edition of the show with the boys from South Coast Metalheads. You got Lukey
Hey.
and Barnesy Bob.
There you go.
Good to see you boys. It's been a while since we've had you on the show.
Yeah, man, it's been a few months.
I think last time you met us up in Canberra and we did one in the studio just before Heathen Fest last year, I think.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Good, man. Good to have you back and catch up, have a chat. We got some gigs coming up. We when this episode gets released, it'll be just after the interim gig for the Capital to the Coast tour, and then we've got one coming up down the track. So it'd be good to chat and learn more about those gigs.
Yeah, definitely.
So the interim one, that one's a just for people to recap on the previous gig. That those guys came up from Tasmania to play the Capital Coast, which is at the basement, and then also down at Smoky Dan's at Tomican.
Yeah, so we got the late, I wouldn't say, yeah, it'll be the nighttime one out of the basement.
Yep.
Between 7 and midnight, with Chud from Canberra and Dead, the two-piece punk band from Melbourne.
Yep.
Keen to see those guys playing. I was keen to, after Trent Barrett from Interrhythm hit us up and said he was keen to come play the mainland.
Yeah, sick. So that's how it came about. They hit you up for that tour.
Yeah, Trent sent me a message over Instagram, and me and Luke talked about it, and we thought it'd be good to have him around.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so something different, something new.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often that we get people from Tasmania get onto it. It's sort of like Tasmania has its own little metal scene happening that quite often gets ignored, except for, of course, Psychroptic and Psychroptic.
Chalky
Yeah.
does great things, man. They've got a quite big black metal scene down there as well.
They got a crazy black metal scene.
Yeah,
down there.
yeah. Chalky's been doing all the progressive kind of tech deathy stuff, and there's like a huge black metal scene down there.
We are.
What else? There's also like a pretty big rock scene as well, like hard rock kind of. Those you can pretty much tour like 8 pubs on a push bike. You know what I mean? And like they've got a pretty cool little touring circuit, and also they have like the funding, like the arts grants and stuff down there.
Oh, yeah.
They all the money goes to the metal bands, and they give them out, like, Intense Hammer Age and Psychroptic was one of the winners from Tassie who got that. Who else? Chalky's other band, Mephistopheles, and they won it as well. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. Sorry. But yeah, definitely though. Like, it's good to see some more people come from Tassie.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. We sort of I'd almost like to say that we advertised in like the back page of the Hell's Envoy magazine, which is like fan stories, like anonymous fan stories from gigs and stuff. Is a magazine we teamed up with. We sort of like distribute some of their stuff at our gigs, and in turn we were lucky enough to sort of advertise for it. I think it was like a week after Volume 2 came out. Trent got onto us and was just like, hey man, like, we want to do New South Wales. And we were sort of like blown away. We were like, who are you and how did you find out about us? But like, I was like, man, we advertised in the back of that magazine and now all these people want to come and hang out and play our gigs, and it's crazy how it happens.
And also, this is our first tour we're handling too, even though it's only a two venue tour, but it's first time we're handling a tour.
That's right. Yeah, so the Hell's Envoy magazine, they gave you some of those. We gave us some of those for distro as well, so they're available on the Big Cartel website.
Yeah, definitely, man. There's They're sick to read through. It's everything from like I met my girlfriend in the mosh pit at Slayer to dudes that were like, I've drunk beers with the dudes from Behemoth, like it's just it's bits and bobs of everything, of just everything that you've like, you sit at the basement and people are like, well, I did this with this guy, and then someone one-ups him. Every page is just like, you're like, what the fuck, like.
That sounds awesome.
That's sick, man. It's like the Tales from the Mosh Pit sort of thing.
Yeah, that's it. It's like Tales from the Crypt, but metal.
Oh, that's sick. So, and also the guys from Dead, how did those guys come across for the bill?
They were probably the first thing I thought of straight after we officially booked into Rhythm. I was thinking, who hasn't played the coast for a while? And who would like to play the coast? Who hasn't played Canberra in a while?
One of the bands that we I got onto Dead my very young years. You would have remembered, like when I was a kid, staggering home like 15, 16, from like out punk gigs and stuff.
Yep.
I used to hang out with them dudes in the back of North Street Cafe back in the day, and they've sort of always went really well on the coast. Like Drew has always sort of brought them up, and I'm used to them being at gigs and being about. They're a cool band. They recently played, was it last year? They played that gig with Mo from Norway.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And that went down really well. So it was like, it was one of Barnesy and I's favourite bands.
Yep.
And bands that we know would go really well with the bill. That we've always wanted to book them on one of our gigs, so it sort of everything sort of fell into place. Really, and they're like, they're cool guys to work with, really super easy to communicate. And
Yep, it always makes it easier. I know that, like with Canberra Metalheads, when we get people reach out to do interviews instead of having to chase it, or when you do hit them up, they sort of get back to you quickly. It always helps, like, to get on bills and things like that, because a lot of the time too, like, there's, and you guys would know this, there's multiple different bands that you could have interviewing for that week, so obviously whoever gets back to you the quickest is more likely to get the spot.
Yeah, definitely. It's like first in, best dressed.
Yep.
A lot of the time
we've been lucky enough with Canberra Metalheads, like, so far, that pretty much even some have been like at a pinch, I've still managed to have an interview every week. I mean, one of the early shows, I think, we went down the coast for Hidden Intent. And when we got back, we're like, oh, we need to organise an interview for this week. So, like, we managed to have, like, a phone interview with Scotty and talk about Terravoris for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was just, like, a sick, like, last-minute thing. But, like, the guys in last week's episode with Old, like, now that I've got the portable kit, it's sick because we can just catch up at the basement and do interviews there and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, even with gigs down the coast, I know for Heathen Fest I'll be bringing it down for that and catching some of the bands here there if I can grab hold of them.
Yeah, that's it. Sort of shove a microphone in Hobbs' face and see what stories come out.
Yeah, man. Well, it's
too many to count.
It's always paid out well. I mean, even when we're just chatting to Aiden from Cucklord.
Yeah.
Just catch up in the studio, and like now that I'm doing like another, I like got other ideas for different podcasts, like comedy ones and things like that. Aiden's like, man, I'll come on there and tell you stories on the comedy one as well. So yeah, things, and it worked out well with the guys from As Flesh Decays. I mean, we had a sick interview down the coast, just like hung out in the hotel and had a chat. Yeah, man. Well, we sat with them dudes like all afternoon, man. Like Taz is just like a book of Australian metal knowledge. And horror movies too. And horror movie, man. He knows everything. It's cool. It's hard too because, like, you know, I've got him like mates with him on Facebook, and you know, there's like them people you see and you're like, I gotta tag him in this. I'll see like a horror movie and I'll be like, Taz will love this. And then like I'll see you be like, holy, this band's playing in Australia. And Taz will like this. And he probably just sits back and he's like, man, this dude just won't leave me alone. Like,
what I find is when I'm about to tag him in something, He's already
and he's already put like, it's not like even like a 2 cents worth. It's like just like exactly what you knew he was gonna say is already on there. Like
yeah. No, man, that's
madness.
That you get more, and by doing interviews with bands and stuff like that, it brings all that out. Like, a lot of the time, you might not always get a chance to chat to a band, you know, just when you're at the gig or whatever. Like, the average punter might not have the time to sit down with a band while they're loading in and playing and all that stuff. So listen back to the show and find out cool stuff about the band members that they wouldn't have normally found out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially too, like, the cool thing is, you know, like, as much as it is cool, I can sort of see it from the band's point of view more and more now as a promoter. Is everyone wants to talk to you at once, and there's only so many people you can talk to. Whereas it's a lot easier just for everyone at once to listen back through, you know, like Canberra Metalheads and hear it all at once, instead of the same guy telling the same story 20 million times, you know, like.
Probably what my comedy podcast will be. Oh man, there's been a couple...
At least plenty of self-loathing and
yeah, just good wholesome family entertainment, really.
Just fun and games everybody can enjoy. That's what it is. There's been a few repeat stories on this show. I mean, I spoke on the Witch Skull episode. We were talking about when we were kids and we had the when we were listening to the Black Sabbath, like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album, and we're just sitting around listening to that. So when you listen back to that one, it'll probably take you down memory lane, just like me when I was chatting to those boys. The whole point was Lukey and I had that album when we were younger, and so did they.
Yeah, that's it. Only they got it when it came out, and we pulled it out of Dad's 30-year-old record collection,
which he got when it came
when
out.
He was their age. Yeah, you know, like. It's one of the things, you know. Oh, and then in turn, you know, I'm not sure about you, but that I had to go out and buy that album, which is now in my collection. You know, like in the rare section, like the don't play this too much because the groove's up on it, and I won't be able to show my kids it. You know, like
that's what we had. Joel from Witch Skull came in for the Christmas edition, and he had some really sick vinyls, man, and like. I just had to like be mindful that some of these have only been played a couple of times. You know what I mean? Like, he's just got some crazy stuff, and he said that his brother has a bunch that's exactly the same. So yeah, that's it, man. It's just it goes full circle. Same album, different memories of it, different times as well. But yeah, so that's the that's like a recap on the Capitals of the Coast tour, but. Straight after that, we've got one coming up with the annual Heathen Fest. This is up to Heathen Fest 3 now.
Yeah, Heathen Fest number 3, which is like exactly how many hairs Bunzy has left on his head after stressing so much.
I believe it's can grow hair, doesn't choose to keep it.
Great pickup line.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's just you just gotta let people know that if you wanted to, you could grow it out.
Yeah.
But so we're up to Heathen Fest 3. So we're a little bit late announcing that one this year. We like to have everything sort of done and dusted by January, just so we didn't sit back and just focus on promotion. But a whole lot of factors came in. Like, we were down a graphics designer. We had to get a new graphics designer for our posters.
Also, shout out to David Lohan from Epop Creative Brand.
Dude, easily the greatest designer I've worked with. Spits work out like it's going out of fashion.
He's a great guy to work with too. He's top bloke. Love talking to him.
But it all fell into place really well. As you were saying, Aiden from Carclord, he came out of hiatus and he hit us up straight away. He's like, hey man, like, you know, gigs. I was like, actually, we'd love to have you back on Heathen Fest. It was sort of like the one-out grindcore band on a black and thrash lineup, but you know, he fits really well just because he's hilarious. He's easily one of the greatest one-man bands I've seen. Yeah. Entertainment value. Yeah. But and also Hobbs. Peter Hobbs, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
That was intense. That was an intense night. Like, we were just about to go to bed and we got a message from Hobbs. And I was like, what do we do?
So, like, Hobbs messaged us one night at, like, it must have been, like, 11 o'clock or something. Anyone that knows what Hobbs's social media presence is like, it's scarce at best. He'll just make his account and then delete it when he's done messaging you. So I got this message from Peter Hobbs, and it was like, hey man, I know where Maria is now. Have you got any gigs? And I was like, yes. Like,
what was it? If Hobbs were to play a show, would we be welcome there? And we're just like, how do we make this sound like yes, but we don't want to suck his dick too hard?
Too hard is the operative.
Like we don't want to pop him straight up and scare him off.
yeah, I mean, so he hit us up.
him first, you know.
Yeah, so we're lucky enough to sort of get him in at late minute, which is sort of filled it out. It's like a 9-band bill now. It'll be the biggest Heathen Fest to date. They're only getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, or even with Bastardizer too, because we talked about it at the last interview. I was like, can we get these guys?
Yeah, like definitely. It's definitely just turned into a lineup of. I think we do it with every lineup we do, but it's just bands that we fantasize about that we're like, I wonder if they'll do it. Like with you guys with Unholy Vendetta, man.
Yeah,
like
talking about coming out of hiatus.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, how long's it been since you guys have played a gig?
6-7 years.
Yeah.
I had to use your gig to entice them out of retirement. And now we've got an album coming out.
Yeah, it's crazy how it all happens.
Sick.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen, man.
Yeah.
Turn 6 month wait, and now we should have something for your show.
Yeah, and that'll be sick. And same as they've sort of definitely become a crowd favourite down the coast, but Black Mountain sort of hopefully have some stuff.
Yeah, I've nearly finished cleaning the last of it up.
Yeah.
I've been recording old for the last couple of weeks and trying to get that ready, and then trying to line up to have the whole kind of Eschatonic Records thing ready for your show. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm trying to ramp it up to try and kind of make it a big thing that like we're gonna release exclusive at you, make it a big thing, tell people about it, and then that'll help, cross promote you guys. You know what
definitely.
I mean?
Cheers, thank you.
And boost the show. Make sure that we got something good to bang out at your place.
Yeah, that's it. We'll just change it from Heathen Fest to like the Eschatonic Roadshow.
Oh, I'm just stoked to be on the bill, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
And then after a few years, like if it's still running, like in 30 years, it'll be the Antiques Roadshow.
That's it, man. But like, I think the last couple of gigs, I think the last two, someone's been like, "Hey, man, can Inhuman play again?" And it's like one of them things. It's like they play a lot of it. It's same as Terravoris, It's like they play a lot of our gigs. I don't think I can, but I don't want it to wear out, And someone said it again here. They're like, "Oh, no, Inhuman." I was like, "Well, most of them are gonna be there, man. It's pretty much like Inhuman in different bands. Like just appreciate it for what it is."
Yeah, talk about Terravoris. We had people, like I think 3 or 4 people comment, "Oh, what's the chance of getting Terravoris on there?" It's like, we would love to have them on, but they're currently busy at the moment. They've got a whole lot of stuff going on, but we would love to have them on whenever they're free again.
Yeah, it's like definitely a crowd favourite, as far as I know, still the only extreme metal band coming out of South Coast area.
And it has lasted more than a year.
Yeah, that's lasted for more than a year, which is, they've lasted longer than I thought South Coast was going to last long for, so...
Yeah.
They're going pretty hard.
Yeah, man. It's good to see, like... So they played on Pitted as well, didn't they?
They played Pitted.
Yeah.
They played their first Pitted gig as Arts and Crafts Must Die.
No, that was at Beneath the Surf. Oh, no, what?
No. They played their first Pitted gig was Arts and Crafts Must Die. But it was the week they changed their name on social media. So they were still Arts and Crafts Must Die on the poster.
Yeah, right.
Which was literally... they were... So Rami, the bassist, was like sitting in the back of North Street Cafe with Drew, where he used to work. And he's like, "We need to name our band." And Drew just goes, "Arts and Crafts Must Die." And that was the name of their band for like 6 months. And everyone was like, "Where did you get your name from?" And to try and explain to somebody who doesn't know Drew, what he says is sort of like, he's like the Godfather. You're like, yes, all right, we'll do that. Like for like a band coming out of the South Coast.
Yeah.
They're like, "What, so you mean to tell me some punk guy that owns a cafe told you to name your band something and you did it. And, that's what it was. But yeah, so that was like, 4 or 5 years ago now?
I don't know.
A while.
They've been going for a while, because I've been living in Canberra now for going on 7 years. And yeah, they were kicking within a few years of me living there. So I'd say 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, and they're just,
Their first show was at Drew's Riverfest as well.
Yeah, Riverfest, back when it was Riverfest.
I remember that. That was,
2015, 2000.
I got the poster somewhere.
Yeah, that's sick. It's funny how bands kick off and keep going. I know, bands that played in the Maria Battle of the Bands Fest, when there was all, punk and hardcore.
I still have an ashtray signed by Like Minded, which is definitely a band that's no longer in existence. But I have it in case they decide to do a reunion tour. I've got it.
Well, it's bands that I discovered through Drew. You going to Drew's Cafe and watching bands there, man. I still listen to Fate Accompli fairly regularly.
They got young Matt Jankin in the band now, who sort of... I haven't really been keeping up to date with it, but I know they were playing with 2 drummers at one point.
Yeah, right.
So it was Matt Jenkins and Scarlett on drums.
Yeah, right.
On 2 separate kits.
Yeah, okay.
And that was crazy. And they were a band, I came home.
Yep, showed me them, and I've been listening to them ever since, man.
That's it.
The amount of times I'll just need, I'll make a playlist. I'm like, I need, a chilled track just, in there somewhere, and I'll chuck on a blue day in the middle.
I think On a Blue Day is... I had it on the No Fool On a Blue Day. It was a 2-song demo. Lived in my CD player for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I pulled that CD player stopped working. I pulled that CD player apart, and that CD was still in there when I pulled it apart. I just whacked it in a new CD player, and here we are again. 6 months later, it's still playing.
Yeah, that's it, man. I've been known to pull it apart to get my CD out of it if it's stopped working. I know that it happened with... So before Witch Skull put out their first album, they had a 3-track EP, and I had that in a CD player that I pulled apart to get the CD out of it, and because I thought that was their... I didn't know that there wasn't many made. I just wanted the CD.
Yeah.
And when they came in Witch Skull for their first interview, when they just released Coven's Will, I'm like, I've only got 3 tracks to play. So we'll do one at the top and either side of the interview. And Tony's just like, where'd you get that CD from, man? And I'm like, I think I got it at a gig. He's just like, weren't many of those made, man. Only the first album came out. Not many people got the EP. So, I got the Witch Skull, first 3-track EP. I think, actually, Witch Skull's probably... Coincidentally, I've got the most amount of their stuff. I got their first EP, their first 2 albums, and the Coven's Will I've got on all 3 vinyls as well, which I've said on the show before. Got they put out a purple, clear, and black disc, and I just ended up with all of them.
And the hard thing is to try and explain to somebody later on, why have you got 3 copies of the same album? Yeah. I was just telling my missus the other day, she's like, "What's this band Mayhem?" I was like, "Oh, it's just a band. It's a band I collect." She's like, "Why have you got 4 copies of the Death Crush album?" I was like, "This one's got a slightly red marble in the EP, so I had to get that one." She's like, "Cool, how much did that cost?" And I was like, "Oh."
Don't worry.
More than it should have.
Yeah, man. So anyway, with Heathen Fest, we'll just do a rundown of the lineup. You guys probably know this off by heart. It's the Hobbs Angel of Death. You got Somnium Nox, Bastardizer, Gorgoth and Remains, Black Mountain, Old, Unholy Vendetta, Beast Impaler, and Cucklord.
Damn right.
Yeah, buddy.
And as we mentioned before, you got the craziness of Hobbs Angel being on there. I was actually heard some fellas at the bar the other day came up to me that said, is actual Hobbs Angel of Death's playing there? I'm like, yeah, man, legit.
Yeah, man.
I don't think many people will believe in us at the moment.
A few people are still in disbelief. I know we've had some of the dudes from You ever look at the photos of like the metal meetups in Sydney and you see the same 3 faces over and over and over again, and you're like, I know that guy, and then you see him at a gig and you're like, it's that guy, it's the thrash guy from Sydney. Dudes like that are messaging us like
Mr. Balfour.
Or
Mr. Mark Fitzgibbon.
Yeah, man.
He was one of the dudes, bro.
Yeah, man, Mark.
Mark came up to me.
I know. I know.
Like,
I've been to Sydney to metal shows.
you get like them dudes like message us and they're like, are you pulling our leg, or is it actually hops?
Yeah.
Or like, people like...
Well, I heard that he went into semi-retirement.
Yeah, well...
I thought he did go into retirement.
He did. So after some bad health, he was gonna, as far as I know, he was gonna play his last lot of shows a couple of years ago, and then it got so bad that he couldn't. He moved down to Eden, pretty much cancelled his shows. He couldn't do anything. He moved down to Eden. He's just been on hiatus. And I'd sort of, because we hadn't heard anything of him, I was like, oh well, that's it. It's done.
Because we tried to hit him up when he was doing his last tour, and he didn't mention anything about it, and Luke just chatted with him for a while and
talked to him about everything but metal. Like, I was like, hey man, what about a gig? And he was just like, hey man, you ever been marlin fishing? And I was like, no man, but I do promote gigs. He's like, yep, moving down to Eden, gonna catch me some marlin. I was just like, all right man, I'll talk about fishing for a while. And we talked about everything for a while. And then he just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth.
And we didn't really get in contact with him for a while because we just left it at that. Then all of a sudden...
didn't want to bother him.
Just
Before
midnight, like 2 minutes to midnight. Like, that's what it was like. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. Then I just checked my phone and was like, oh, we got a message on the South Coast page. Peter Hobbs. All right, then. Then I went and grabbed Luke out of bed. I was like, Hobbs wants to play the coast. What do I say?
Yeah,
like half awake Lukey just going like, so tell him we'll do it. Yeah man, so as far as I know, this is going to be like his last gig or a one-off before he decides to do something else. Or
Yeah, man.
I've got he's a bit of a mysterious man to work with.
Yeah, because we asked him, he's like, oh, what do you want to do with this? And he goes, it'll be great. We'll just keep doing. This will be a great show. We'll make it special. I'll get some guys from the Australian lineup, and that'll be it. I was like,
yeah, man. No, it's good that you like reach out and you get. I think you mentioned in the last time you were on the show, it's pretty crazy when you put out your like potential gig bands to be on the gig and they actually get back to you. It's like, whoa, man! Like, really?
yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, man. So,
well, it's even still. I mean, I think we were at the basement one night, and I was just like, "Hey, man, it was Unholy Bandana want to play a gig?" And you're like, "Yeah, all right." And then nothing of it until it was like, I think we were talking about it like 4 or 5 months later, and I was like, "Wait, are we actually doing this? Like, is Unholy playing Heathen?" And he's like, "Yeah, right, we'll do it." Like,
yeah,
it was the
same. I'm going through the same stuff myself at the moment. Like I have bucket lists, like I just got to play with now Nafrak, who's been like massive for me. Like how good was it that we had like Sepultura and Pantera? Like I didn't get to play with them, but essentially the members of that coming
definitely
coming to town
and like to play your hometown.
Yeah. And now like at the gates,
the Haunted and Witch.
The Haunted, like for me, like your Mayhem is my at the gates.
Yeah, that's it. Which is like very, very definitely still like I still like the amount of bands that have come over this year that have blown me away. That I've been like, I know like 14-year-old me would.
Same with Girls School, Raven and Venom Inc. are coming back this year.
Man,
Venom Inc. Should I say is coming back for the second year in a row.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's crazy as well. Like when you're so close to original member of Venom.
Oh, I'm saving from now so I can go to Devil Driver.
Yeah, man. Which also got a Canberra date.
Yeah. Canberra date. Oh, Rings of Saturn, Canberra date.
Yeah,
man, I saw that. Yeah,
yeah, man.
I think especially too. The cool thing is being from the coast, and like Sydney's not a far drive from the coast, but like the more bands that are playing Canberra now is crazy. And at the basement too, which is like, home ground.
Like you never think you'd see feeling somewhere in the illegals at the basement.
Definitely not.
Like
man.
a year
It's
ago,
just
you wouldn't
insane, dude. Like I'm at the bar looking over, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually Phil Anselmo playing Walk. You know what I mean? Like, and then Youngie from King Parrot jumps up, grabs the other mic, and starts singing it with him. And then I'm talking to Youngie after the gig, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just talking to the dude that was just singing Walk with Phil Anselmo. Like, it's a bit like you were saying, Lukey, when King Parrot played Magpies after they'd just been over and seen Phil Anselmo.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, these dudes have been hanging out with Phil Anselmo, man. Like, for a second, you just kind of get starstruck by a dude.
Still do.
Yeah.
They recorded their last album with Phil in the States, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it on Housecore Records?
Yeah, no.
I know Dead Set was. I'm not so sure about Ugly Produce.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, like, even that still, like... that in itself, I think about, you know, like, I've seen King Parrot many a times now, and everyone talks about, like, oh, I seen him at Soundwave, and I paid $5 to see them play with 10 bands one night while all my friends went to a strip club. And I think I got the better end of that deal.
Yeah, man.
People are like,
Well,
oh,
Youngie
King...
still takes his shirt off, like, kind of.
Yeah, man.
So he'll always do that.
Sends me poo pictures.
But, like, I still think about, like, King Parrot, like, on this, like, it's like, you know, that's at Australian metal bands that I've seen them play at my favourite bar just up the road. And then I stop and I think, I'm like, man, these guys, like, hang out at Phil's house.
Yeah, man.
These guys tour the world. These guys are literally signing. Now they themselves, like, Youngie's signing bands from Australia himself.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, man, like...
He's been on EMG as a Australian EMG rep for, like, 4 years, I think. So, like, doing big things overseas and for overseas people over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Like, did you see they're playing Frankie's Pizza for free?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is...
That looked like
I love
an
the poster.
insane set. Oh, the big strap on.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so line up for Heathen Fest has got a bunch of rad bands, like we said. We've got
Hobbs Angel of Death.
We got Hobbs Angel of Death, we got Bastardizer, we got Sonia Knox, Black Mountain, or we got Golgotha Remains, we got Unholy Vendetta, Beast Impaler, and the Mighty Couple.
Perfect. And that's when's that kicking off?
That's kicking off on the 1st of June at 3 p.m, or doors are open at 3 p.m. Tickets will be $30 after the 25th of April, but we do have early bird tickets going down for $25.
$25, man, for like 9 bands. And to see like Bastardizer and Hobbs on the same bill for $25 is crazy.
And to see Unholy Vendetta come back.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of... I think this is like your guys' first gig in 6 years. Hobbs' first gig in Australia in like 8 years or something like that, you know, like...
Decade, yeah.
It's crazy, man. Get to hear some...
Oldham Black Mountains for CD launch.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, yeah.
Yeah, they've got that. The merch booth would be pretty crazy. Be good to be able to get everything off it.
Yeah, one of everything. Just walk up, bring your checkbook, we'll sort you out.
Be good to go down to that gig and check it all out. And also grab some Metalheads merch as well.
Yeah.
We should have some new merch by then. We're going through David Lighthand again through Epoch Creative Brand, and hopefully we'll have, fingers crossed, we'll have a new shirt design, new jumper design, and once again, fingers crossed, hopefully some more hats, because we know how much I love hats.
I'd never see anyone wearing them, but people buy them. I mean, they get about. It's...
Oh, I tell you what, up at the NL NAFRAC gig, I seen a South Coast shirt. Turns out it was the Douglas brothers.
Yeah, man, crazy. I ran into them at Download.
Yeah, man, that was cool. I was just sitting there like... I remember one night at the... Like, because I still get excited when I see Canberra Metalheads merch out and about. It's still good to see it. Like, at the basement, it's fairly common now. But, like, I mean... I think one night I was there was like 3 people all in a line with our shirts on.
Pantera show, man.
Insta story that I put up when Phil Anselmo was playing, and then it like goes down and then just zooms in on the dude wearing the Canberra Metalhead shirt in the crowd. Yeah. No, that's sick,
Thanks
man.
everyone for your support.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm still blown away when I see people wearing our gear, and especially people wearing like our OG patches, because I know they've been repping them for like 5 years now.
Yep.
But yeah, we should hopefully we're planning on having some jackets this year because the amount of people that go, like, they come out like me and they're wearing like a sleeved shirt, maybe some moshes, and they're like, I don't think it was going to be cold.
Some people won't wear a jumper because they know they'll buy one when they're there.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Except for I'm too big nowadays. I walk up to the merch booth and go, you got anything for us plus size gentlemen? And they're like, get out.
I think I hit up this shirt distributor and I was like, I need like a 6 and a 7XL. And the dude just sent me a message back. He's like, who the hell are you trying to put shirts on? I'm like, you ever seen Inhuman Remnants?
Big boy problem.
Yeah, man. No, that's sick. There'll be a rad range of merch down there as well, so check that out and get. Where's your pre-sales through?
Through moshgeeks.com.
Yep, on socials as well.
Yeah, man, the event page has all
the link in it.
All the events.
On the events, yeah. And also, this is the first Heathen Fest without a beard comp.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, by all means, grow your beards and come out and...
Sure, I might give you something you have an impressive beard.
No, we just... Man, with 9 bands, I know we're going to cop some stuff because, like, last year, I think some dude was like, I've been growing my beard, like, ever since the first one, and, like, I go in all the beard comps, and I look forward to it. We kind of don't have time.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I know, if you've got a big beard and our gig starts at 3... I know it's got like an hour's worth of prep of brushing it, looking in the mirror, ask if it looks good. You're not gonna be there at 2 for a beard comp. So we give it a miss this year, but in turn, you get 9 awesome bands. So
Yep. So either way, there's still a fun night to be had.
it's a win-win.
So that's Heathen Fest. Make sure you buy your online tickets. There's links in the Facebook event. You can get them for $25 until.
The early bird tickets are until the 5th of April, and our regular tickets start on the 5th of April and until the week before the show.
Cool. And then anything that's left will be on the door after that, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
that's it. I mean, we'll have tickets, and we're lucky that the waterfront has a pretty good capacity number, and also that it's a great venue that you can sort of see and hear the bands from outside. So,
Cool.
there's going to be plenty of tickets available.
Make sure you, if you want the early bird tickets, you just get in early and get them for a bit cheaper. So that's the plug on Heathen Fest, and a quick little expectation of what's to come with some of the Unholy Vendetta stuff, as well as some of the bands on the bill. They'll close out. We've had Lukey Lucifer and Bungie Bunzelbob on the show.
And it's been great.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Marky.
Oh, you're right, man. Canberra Metalheads.
Skate.
Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
Come on down to Heathen Fest. Listen to some Virgin Metal, because it's not fucked.
Bianca, bam!